Good morning. Today I want to talk to you about one of my favourite subjects. We're going to talk about port wine. My name is Jane Nisbet-Huseby and thank you for joining us. So today was going to be a bit of an introduction to port wine, and I suddenly found that when I started thinking about doing these videos on port, suddenly I saw that actually I could talk for quite some time on port, so I'm going to try and keep it a little bit brief, give it a bit of an overview, and in addition I'm going to do not just one video, but I'm going to do a series of 4 videos. The first video, this one, will actually be more like an introduction to the whole category. We're going to talk a little bit about how you make port, what's special about port, and the different styles you can see here. We've got rubies and we've got Tawny Ports. In the second video, we're going to talk a little bit more about what I have here, being the ruby ports. And in the third video, we're going to talk about Tawny Ports, which I have on this side of the table. And then in the fourth video, I'm going to talk a bit more about not just Tawnies from Portugal, but also some really exciting stuff that I've got from Australia. So stay tuned. So first of all, let's talk about port. Now, where does port come from? Port comes from the Douro Valley in Portugal. It's a designated origin, which means that nowhere else can actually call their wines port, and we'll come back to that theme when you come back and watch the fourth video, because there was a little bit of a name change because also Australians used to actually call their fortifieds port as well, but now they have a different name. So port wines. Port is made from 5 different grape varieties. It's always a blend, and these grape varieties are native to the Douro Valley. They're all really thick-skinned, and they have a lot of flavour underneath the skins. So the 5 grape varieties that you should know about are Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, Tinta Rores, Tinta Cal, and Tinta Barroca. These are the 5 grape varieties which are used. In the Douro Valley, you have a wide range of vineyards, and each of these vineyards are classified according to the quality of the grapes that they tend to produce. And then when these grapes are then picked and then they go through the winemaking process, depending on the quality that these grapes actually have, they will then be used with the different quality levels that we have here, either into the ruby ports or into the Tawny Ports. Another aspect that's really important to know about port wines is that they are always fortified. Okay, so what does fortification actually mean? This means that when the grapes are brought in, the first thing that happens to them is that they're squashed a little bit, and by squashing them, you release a bit of the juice. This process is then called maceration, so that you're getting a mixture between the juice and the skins, and then the fermentation starts. And so when you've got that fermentation going, as I said, releasing all of these flavours underneath the skins, when you then drain them off the skin and you add alcohol, which is usually 77% alcohol by volume, then that stops the fermentation. You then have an alcohol of about 20%, and you have still a lot of unfermented sugars within the wine. So you have a residual sugar level of usually around about 90 to 110 grams of sugar per litre, which is it's quite sweet, but it's really lush and rich at the same time. So that's all wines. So whether we're talking about the rubies on this side or the Tawnies on this side, they've all gone through that same process. What happens next, however, is it will then decide which sort of aging process the wines go into. So if the first part is that they will go into barrel, and these are always used barrels, they're big barrels, so you're not getting any added flavors from these barrels. You're basically getting a bit of roundness, a little bit of oxygen from micro-oxygenation through the barrels. and they're left in the barrel then for some time to mature a little bit, and they're taken, they take samples from them and they'll decide where the quality actually is going to be, and then that will really decide what is going to be the destiny for these wines, whether they're going to stay in the ruby range. So the ruby range will be varying degrees of time in oak, and we'll come back to that in a second, before they're actually put into bottle, or whether they're in the tawny range, which means that they're going to have long aging in oak, basically in neutral oak. Okay, in front of me, as you can see, I've got two glasses, and this is just to really show you a little bit of the difference in colour. And I've positioned these here to show this is a ruby port and this is a tawny port. You can really see from these two glasses that there's quite a difference in the colour, and this is reflected in the type of aging that these wines have actually had. So with the ruby ones, they've been protected a little bit from oxygen, so we've managed to maintain this beautiful, bright sort of ruby and deep ruby colour within the wine. With this one, the reason it's changing colour, and you can see it's tawny and it's got a slightly sort of brick or orange sort of edge to it, that is the effect of oxygen. So these wines have been in barrel for a very long time, and as a result they change their actual characteristics of the fruit changes quite considerably. It becomes much more nutty and you're getting dried fruit, and it's quite a different expression to what you're seeing within the rubies. So that's just a quick explanation of these two different styles.